Representative for South Sudan, Nicholas Haishin, held his first press briefing after the country's leaders announced an extension of the ongoing transitional period, saying they must take this latest extension count. The extension has moved South Sudan's bid to hold its first ever democratic elections back by 2 years to December 2026. Our reporter Sasun Cham has the details.
The United Nations integrates are currently helping the South Sudan's National Elections Commission hold its first induction exercise for the High State Elections Committee members. This is one of many workshops the UN is conducting to connect the national and subnationals or state levels to build capacities across the board and introduce key concepts of effective electoral management. This meeting is geared towards providing clarity to members of the states. High elections committees have their important role in delivering free and fair elections. Speaking on behalf of the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, Hayim said the only way forward is for South Sudan's leaders to find the compromises and modes of implementation of a critical mass of the key political and operational benchmarks set out.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said the only way forward is for South Sudan's leaders to find the compromises and modes of implementation of a critical mass of the key political and operational benchmarks set out in the Araucus. They must make this latest extension count if they are to retain the trust and confidence of the people.
The United Nations is prioritizing support in achieving concrete outcomes by working with the political parties at national and state levels to raise awareness on what is required for them to hold elections. These include enabling them to have a considered response to the 10 questions that were asked to the political class over an year ago. To date, these questions remain unanswered. Haim further said the convened forum will avail stakeholders the opportunity to discuss the issues raised. These questions are the basement issues, such as nature and kind of elections that the country wants to hold.
These questions examine foundational matters such as the nature and kind of elections that the country wants to hold, electoral participation by refugees and internally displaced persons, issues related to proportional representation, which means that subgroups of the larger electorate are reflected comparably, so that all votes truly cast reflect the will of the people.
Political forums across different states, the United Nations and partners are helping to create an enabling environment for elections, an environment where all citizens can cast their votes without intimidation or fear of reprisal, where politicians have a level playing field to express their opinions without inciting hatred or violence, where the media can keep people informed without censorship, and vocal civil society can thrive and have positive dialogue, which will produce positive outcomes. Concerns, however, remains regarding the recommended modifications to the National Security Service Act.
I'd like to express my concern about the proposed amendment in the National Security Service Act. As it stands now, there are several clauses that are barely compatible with democratic principles and will inevitably cast a shadow over elections. I and many other shareholders have raised this concern with government partners and urged them to reconsider these clauses.
ISUM further highlighted that a positive outcome from the political forum in Bor was an agreement between the civil society and the national security apparatus and its representatives to sit together and understand each other's perspectives. Such local collaborations are the foundation of a United Nations Sudanese society, but gaps remain in ensuring that South Sudan can complete a successful democratic transition. The fact remains that driving forces behind all these tasks must be political elites, not the UN or the United Nations or external peace partners. These aren't UN elections or foreign elections. These are South Sudan's first post-independence election. Therefore, they must use the next 4 months until the February 2025, when the extended period commences, to set a realistic targets and achieve them. Reporting for African News, I'm Sasum Cham.